Apollo 18 is a space horror movie. The plot of the movie is that this is never before seen found footage of Apollo 18, the Apollo you never heard of that went to the moon. So the US government decides, hey, let's go back to the moon, baby. But this time, let's be super secretive about it for some reason. So they get a team of 3 together and they shoot these bad boys to the moon. Well, on the moon, our astronauts find more than they expected. So basically, the government's like, we want you to record a whole bunch of stuff. And so there's tons of cameras and stuff, and this is kind of where the found footage comes into play. Well, while they're out collecting samples of the moon rocks, they come across a Russian spacecraft, and they're like, whoa, this spacecraft shouldn't be here, this isn't documented. And then they're also like, well, we shouldn't be on the moon, so I mean, what's saying that they're not doing a top secret mission like us? And upon further investigation, they realize, yeah, the dude that was in it was a one-man mission by Russia, he's dead. And the only thing they can find on my boy is a rock. La-di-da, they tried to hit up mission control. They're like, yeah, we kind of thought Russia was up to some shenanigans. You're all Golden Girls. Well, things kind of start taking a terrible turn when they notice that the flag that they put on the moon is just missing. And besides the 2 dudes on the moon and the dead Russian space astronaut, there's no one else on the moon. So the big question is, where'd the flag go? And upon investigating where the flag was, they find footprints, but they're not human footprints. So they're like, wow, aliens. And from there, a bunch of stuff happens. I'm not going to get into too many spoilers, but they end up finding out that there's a whole bunch of crab aliens on the moon, and they disguise themselves as moon rocks. Classic. And the rest of the movie is just basically these astronauts trying to get off the moon because these rock crab aliens are out on the moon, and a bunch of shenanigans happen, and that's the short story without any more spoilers. So my review of Apollo 18, I wanna really like this movie because I'm like super into space. That's like one of my most interesting topics that I like to study is outer space, and my favorite genre is horror, and it's the combination of both. And I like found footage movies, but this movie was just, I don't know, kind of boring. I had watched it before, and these are one of those rare movies where on the rewatch, I actually didn't remember a single thing about this movie at all. So it's kind of like watching it for the first time. It definitely gets a lot more interesting in the end, and I like the whole idea behind it. But I mean, it was still kind of like, meh. And I try to take away from every horror movie I watch at least one cool thing. And the only cool thing that I can think of about this movie is literally the very end. I mean, this is the very end. Like, this is the last 30 seconds. They play it off because it's like found footage, so it really happened, quote, air quote, that we have brought an insane amount of moon rocks back to Earth, and the movie is basically saying that moon rocks are crab aliens. And then it's like, yeah, so we have tons of crab aliens on Earth, which I thought was kind of cool, but that's stretching. So, my rating for Apollo 18 would be a There's a lot of hmms in this review because this movie is just a movie. I'd rate it a a 5 out of 10. Maybe a 4.5. And a lot of the and Hines, just because the movie was kind of super boring in the beginning and didn't really get good till like the very end. So, is Apollo 18 a must see? No, but it's worth a watch because it was mildly entertaining. I did enjoy the end, and it was kind of a super messed up ending. That was my cat. And it's a cool movie to have in your collection.